Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. If you're new here, my name is Sam Lynch. I'm a husband, I'm a father to 3 feral children, a retired Marine infantryman and scout sniper, a real estate investor, and a real estate agent with eXp Realty here in Eastern North Carolina, where we have Camp Lejeune, Marine Corps Air Station New River, and Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point. Now, I became a real estate agent because I'm passionate about helping military service members and veterans like myself make smart real estate decisions, especially when it comes to using your VA loan. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can potentially live for free and build wealth using your VA loan. Let's get into it. First off, I know you've been beat down with all the benefits that come with the VA loan. You already know with the 0 down payment, lower credit score requirements, and lower interest rates and more. You already know all those benefits. We all know it's a great benefit if you're active duty military, if you're in the reserves, or if you're a veteran, whether you did only 4 years, 1 contract, or you did the full 20 plus years and you ended up retiring. We all know it's a great benefit. I'm not here to tell you any more of the benefits. You already know that. One of the stipulations, however, is that the home that you're purchasing must be a primary residence. This is if you're purchasing with the VA loan. This means that you intend to occupy and actually live in the home. But that doesn't mean that we can't get creative with it. So let me share a quick story. Back in 2007, I bought a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. It was 1,200 square feet. It was on a ½ acre. And I was a single sergeant in the Marine Corps. I wasn't married. Normally, when you're in the military, they'll give you BAH or basic allowance for housing if you're married. So that allows you to move out in town or choose to live on base, and then you pay rent. But at the time, I was a single sergeant. I was living in the barracks and just got back from my 3rd deployment. If you know anything about this time, in 2007, there was the surge within Iraq, and they were building the military up. Afghanistan was still kicking, and so they were building the military up. They just didn't have enough barrack space. And I was just sick of living in the barracks, to be honest with you. So the barracks occupancy was at 98%. So that kind of tripped the requirement for being able to apply to move out in town if you're a sergeant or above. So I applied and I got approved for BAH or basic allowance for housing, which basically means now I got the choice to move out in town. 2 of my other buddies who were also sergeants also applied for BAH and they got approved. So they decided to rent a room from me. So it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. I lived in one of the rooms and I rented the other 2 rooms out. The rent they were paying covered the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and some of the utilities. I was basically living for free. And to top it off, the seller covered all of my closing costs. So when I bought the home, we negotiated that the seller would cover all my closing costs. So I had 0 money in the deal. I was basically living for free and pocketing my entire BAH every month. This strategy, which is now commonly known as house hacking, and that's a phrase that was coined by Brandon Turner when he was with Bigger Pockets at the time. But people were doing it for a long period of time. But this was something that was a real eye-opener for me and eventually led me to get into real estate investing, which I still do to this day. So this home was a single-family home, but let's take it up a notch. You don't have to limit yourself to just a single-family home. With a VA loan, you can buy a duplex, triplex, or even a 4-unit multifamily residential property. You can live in one unit and you can rent the other ones out. And what's really cool about this, the rent from the tenants cover your mortgage, which allows you to live for free and even cash flow. Now, how is this possible? How can I afford all of these things? How am I going to get pre-approved for that much? I normally, if you're buying a duplex, triplex, or a 4-unit, it's going to be up on a higher end as far as the purchase price. The great thing is lenders take that into account because the lenders will take into account the rental income, the market rents from the other units, whether it's a duplex, triplex, or a 4-unit, they will take the market rent income and stack that onto your income, which allows you to qualify for more than just getting a single family home. Now let's go ahead and take a look at an example. Okay, so in this example, let's say you're going to get a 4-unit residential multifamily home. That's just a quadplex. You purchase it for $450,000. Now I know that might be on the lower end. I get it. But just for the example, let's just use $450,000. You get a 30-year VA loan, which means it's amortized over 30 years at a 6% interest rate. So with the 4 units, let's say they're all either 2 or 3 bedroom homes, you are going to live in unit 1. Okay, you get E6 BAH with dependents. You and your family live in one of the units there, that first one right there. So there's no income, as you can see here in Unit 1. There's not going to be a rental income. However, market rents are $1,300 for those units in this area. So you have Unit 2, 3, and 4, each of them collecting $1,300 of rent. Your BAH is 1908. All right. If you look down here, your debt service, now this one is just a principal and interest because we're factoring taxes and insurance in the expense rows. So your debt service is $2,698. That's with a $450,000 purchase price at 6% interest rate, 30-year amortization. All right. So you're not going to have any real cash flow for Unit 1 because you're living there. Okay. So you're going to be paying taxes. You're going to be paying the insurance. You're going to be paying the utilities for your unit. Now, if you notice over here, units 2, 3, and 4, those are rented out. And so that means the tenant or the resident that is living in those other units are paying for their own utilities. They're not going to be paying the taxes and insurance on the home. That's under your name because it's your loan. All right. But you do want to factor in a maintenance reserve account. Let's just going to say it's 8%. You're going to factor in future vacancies, potential vacancies that come up. A unit goes empty and it's vacant for, let's say, a week. And so you need to factor in, okay, hey, there's some holding costs here associated with these things. All right, so let's just say that's 4%. Capital expenditures. Now, capital expenditures, these are going to be big ticket items that need replacement. So if the roof eventually needs to be replaced, major appliances need to be replaced, things like that. That's different than repairs. Or think of it like repairs are things like, let's just say you get a hole in the wall, you can patch up the hole. Or let's say your HVAC unit, it needs to be serviced and you call someone out to repair it. Now, if that HVAC unit needs to be replaced, that would fall under the capital expenditure. Same thing with the wall. If you need to tear down the whole wall and replace the whole wall, that would be a capital expenditure. All right, so let's just say you put away 8% per month of the gross rent away into a reserve account. So you got your maintenance reserve, your vacancy reserve, and your capital expenditures. Now, if you're managing your own property, which means you're screening all the tenants, you're accepting all the applications, you're ordering all the repairs and things like that, you probably don't need to factor in this 10%. Or if you do, you can pay yourself this 10%, and then now that's income because honestly, those are jobs that need to be done. Those are active, you're actively in it. But if you wanted to hire out, that's about what the going rate on average, this doesn't mean it's going to be your exact scenario, but about a 10% property management fee for each unit. So that comes out to, if it's $1,300 of rent, that's going to come out to $130 a month that you're going to pay towards property management. All right, so now you look down here, look at your total expenses. All right, so your total expenses for each of the units that are rented out is $390. Your net operating income. So your net operating income in this example is your rental income minus your expenses. Remember, we have not factored in debt service yet, but minus the expenses, and that comes out to $910 per month per unit that is rented out. And then you factor in now your debt service, and then you got your pure cash flow. So each of the units' pure cash flow is now $910. Remember, we factored in the fact that you were getting paid E6 BAH with dependents, which is why that is in the income row here under Unit 1. So with all that, your actual take-home total cash flow combined for this 4-unit apartment building is $550 a month. You're getting paid to live there at that point. Okay, so that's not even money out of your pocket. Remember, the government is the one giving you $1,908 for BAH. So you're pocketing $550 a month. Okay, so take this into account. After a year of living here, that's the VA loan requirements that you have lived here for a year. Remember, it needs to be your primary residence. Okay, you lived in Unit 1 for a year. However, you move out after that year. Now you rent Unit 1 out. Now the whole building is cash flowing, and then you can rinse and repeat and do it again at your next duty station. Okay. Remember, also with these, I did not factor in rents going up. So looking at years 2, 3, 4, 5, of ownership, and let's just say rents are going up 3% year over year, which they're right around there a little bit more, you're going to be able to bring in even more income than just that $1,300 per unit by the time you actually move out. Okay. Now, obviously we know markets change. However, right now, let's just say this is just the example. If you're active duty, the government is giving you basic allowance for housing anyway, or BAH. Why not put that money to work? By using your BAH to cover your mortgage, you're essentially building equity and wealth. If you were just renting a home, you're paying someone else's mortgage and you will never recoup that BAH. Put it to work for you. And what do I mean by recouping that BAH? When you live in a home and you're paying down your own mortgage, you're building the equity in there. Plus, there's also, if the home appreciates, you're also building equity that way. And so when you go to sell, you're going to net profit and you're going to be able to recoup that BAH back out when you go to sell. Living for free and building wealth sounds awesome, right? The VA loan is a great tool, so make the most of it. If you have any questions about using your VA loan, or you need help finding a property that fits this strategy, feel free to reach out. My contact information is in the description and is a direct line to me. I answer to text and phone calls and emails, not a virtual assistant. I'm here to help. Reach out. Before you go, make sure to hit that like button if you found this info helpful. Make sure to subscribe and share any of your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Your engagement helps me tailor these videos to what you need most. Until next time, keep moving forward. Sam, out.